Hello everyone, we have a 4-game NBA slate for this Saturday, November 9th. So starting off at point guard, at the top, I like Luka Doncic at 9.6K against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are playing a lot faster this year compared to the grit and grind culture that they once had. And also, Kristaps Porzingis is uncertain for this game because it is a back-to-back. The Mavericks, they played pretty heavy minutes, but without Porzingis, Luka Doncic here, he's gonna have to do a whole lot more than he's already been doing, and he's just been a guy that's been getting a lot of triple doubles this season so far, and the price actually went down, but it does make sense because it is a back to back, but still, Luka Doncic should be well over 5 digits, and he's not here in a pace up matchup, so Luka definitely gonna be my top stud of the day, and I don't think it's really close. Yeah, and even if Porzingis is in, I think Luka still might be my top option here. Definitely Westbrook, Harden, they're gonna be a little bit closer, but I just think Harden's price is a little bit too high. Um, but other than Luka, I like Westbrook 9K as well. The Bulls have been pretty good defensively to start the season against opposing point guards, but Westbrook's price at 9K, even with Harden, he's just a guy that can still get you a triple double. He's not going to be the same type of shooter that a guy like Luka or Harden is, but still Westbrook's price, that's why it's down. In the recent games, I believe he got hurt and also in blowouts. So that's why his fantasy points haven't been up as much, but his price is now down to only 9K. That means 45 points is for 5x. He's a guy that we see he usually gets you 50 plus. So I think his floor is very safe, one of the safest floors in all of the league. We know he can get a triple double. The Bulls, um, they are not, anything that we're gonna be scared of. So I like Westbrook. I just prefer Luka because of the upside. And with Luka, if Porzingis were to miss, it's just gonna be clearly Luka for me. While Westbrook has to contend with James Harden's usage, so I just prefer Luka a whole lot more. D'Angelo Russell 8.5K back to back. He had a huge ceiling game. His ownership's probably gonna be up because of that, but OKC, they're a pretty nice team like overall. Definitely, they're not gonna make the playoffs, but Chris Paul, guy that can defend, SGA as well. Gallinari, not the best defender, but he's pretty big. Steven Adams inside holding it down. So the Thunder at home, they're not gonna be on a back to back. They're just comfortably resting at home, going up to a very just injury-riddled Warrior squad with only D'Lo. And D'Lo on a back-to-back coming back from injury, he possibly could sit. We don't know, but under the assumption that he does play, I still will not go to a lot of D'Angelo Russell. I don't think he's going to be a core play for me. Next, Drew Holiday, 7.7K. I like that against the Hornets. This game is going to be pretty fast-paced. Two teams that aren't the best, but they're definitely guys that are capable of scoring. Both teams don't really play defense. They play pretty fast. So I like Drew 7.7K a lot more than D'Lo. Drew hasn't really been the kind of guy that we expected him to. He has been injured to start the season, but still, he usually is going to be a guy that can fill it up in everything. He's getting the defensive stats. His shots have been okay so far, shooting probably a little bit under where we would expect at 38%. But he's been doing everything. I think some of it's also the minutes and blowout like tonight. They're also going to be on a back-to-back, so keep in mind of that. But I think after a blowout game, usually teams do try to they show more fight. So I think Drew Holiday's price now in a way better matchup against the Raptors, where he's being guarded by Lowry, Van Vliet, a lot of good, solid individual defenders. I like Drew here, 7.7K. And next, Zach LaVine, 7.3K. The Rockets, they've just been horrible defensively to start the season. They've been giving up a whole lot of points to opposing teams. And Zach LaVine, 7.3K, is a guy that is going to be the main option here for the Bulls. And without Otto Porter in this lineup, replacing him with a guy like Chandler Hutchinson, who doesn't have the same kind of usage, not the same kind of shooter. Just everyone overall in this Bulls team is going to have to pick it up a little bit in terms of the shots, usage, everything. So I do like Zach LaVine, 7.3K. And then SGA at 7.1K. He's not a guy that I usually pick because his price is pretty high for what it's been the start of the season, but he's been showing a lot of promise. He just seems like he's really gonna be a star in the league in the future. Um, it's a tremendous matchup. The Warriors, we know they don't play defense; they're just hurt right now. But SGA is more of a scorer right now. He can rebound the ball. He is a pretty big guard, but the ball handling is going to be a lot in the hands of Chris Paul. SGA isn't the best three-point shooter. He's not really known for that. He's more of like a mid-range kind of guy driving the paint. Um, Good defensive player too. Not going to get a lot of stats, but he definitely can do something in that department. So SGA 7.1K. Definitely, there's a possibility I can see an upside game like we just saw with Andrew Wiggins. So makes sense if you're playing a lot of lineups. And then Alec Burks, someone if you're looking for value because it is short slate, probably needs some value. I want to give Alec Burks as one of the value plays here. 4.5K. He's been playing well the past two games. It's a back-to-back. He's also a guy that's been injured, but it's been a little bit of time now. So I think that as long as this game stays close, he should be able to play somewhere around the 30 minutes. And he's a guy that is going to be the second option on this team with D'Angelo next to him. So I like Alec Burks. If D'Angelo were to miss this game, then Alec Burks is probably going to be just an absolute lock, even though there are concerns of a back-to-back. But 4.5K for probably the number one option on this Warriors team. If D'Lo's out, definitely going to be a terrific value play. Should be one of the chalkiest if that is the case. Next, moving on to small forward. Brandon Ingram, AK, going to be the top small forward option for this slate. I do like him. The Charlotte Hornets give up a lot of points to opposing small forwards. And Charlotte they're not supposed to be good. Brandon Ingram's AK, he's been taking a lot of shots even with Drew Holiday returning. It looks like that is going to be the case just as the season goes on. I thought that maybe he would lose some shots, but he's still producing a whole lot, just really in everything. So Brandon Ingram, AK, seems a little bit expensive, but it's a way better matchup than what it was against the Raptors, which I just was not interested in him at all. And Ingram's a guy that can play definitely upper 30s in minutes. So if this game stays close, which it should, I like Brandon Ingram a pretty good amount here at 8K. Gonna probably be my top small forward option for this slate. Now looking down here, a lot of these guys I just don't really like because like PJ Tucker, Santa Rands are coming off of some pretty big games. Same with Dylan Brooks. And so Dwayne Bacon is a guy that is interesting because the Pelicans, they just play so fast that with a horrible defense, they give up a lot of ceiling games to a lot of players. And it's not like it's just one. It can be like multiple players from a team, especially like the Hornets, where the usage is not just totally concentrated. Like, you can see with the Rockets and Harden and Westbrook. With the Hornets, they have a lot of guys, Rozier, Devontae Graham, PJ Washington, a lot of guys that are not total studs. They're kind of just like, average or so, but in the mid range for the price. But all of them are capable of just performing way over what they're priced at. And Wade Bacon is a guy that usually will get the minutes if he is playing well. He's kind of scoring dependent, but obviously if he's doing well, then he's going to get the minutes. So then that basically makes someone like him who is scoring dependent just an absolute amazing player. Like we saw with Evan Fournier, who, given that Terrence Ross is out, and bumped him up, but he's making his shots. He actually got pretty lucky with the rebounds, though. He's not a guy that can get you a whole lot of those, but he shot pretty well, and he played some pretty heavy minutes until the game kind of got away at the end. But Dwayne Bacon's a guy that definitely is a guy that can score the ball, and just the matchup, it's really nice. So I like Dwayne Bacon for GPPs only, though. Definitely do not play him in cash. And then one of my favorite value plays is going to be Tim Hardaway Jr. As long as Kristaps Porzingis is out. Even with Porzingis in so far this season, he's been pretty consistent in terms of scoring the ball in low double digits, getting a few rebounds and like assists. He's not a defensive guy, but he's going to be an excellent shooter, an excellent scorer. And again, the pace-up spot, same thing with Luka. If Porzingis were to miss, he's going to be the second option. Probably going to be taking a whole lot of shots then. Going to definitely expect double-digit shot attempts. It's just a matter if he makes them. But I think he definitely scores something like 20 real-life points. And at 4K, I like him. He should probably pick up a few extra minutes just because they're going to need his offense out there. So I like Tim Hardaway if Porzingis is out a whole lot. And now going down to probably the chalkier play, Chandler Hutchinson at 3.2K. He's going to get the start for the injured Otto Porter today. But Chandler Hutchinson really is not a good fantasy player. Like the past games from last season where Hutchinson started, he would play somewhere in like the 20s or in a little bit, like in rare cases, he would play into the 30s. But this is a guy that just is not really a 3-point shooter. And also, he's not really just an offensive threat or anything. He's not a guy that gets you defense stats or anything like that. He puts up a lot of games where he just gets you maybe like 6 points, 2 rebounds, just very mediocre games. And even at 3.2K with his minutes, probably going to be comfortably into the 20s and maybe low 30s. I just think that there's definitely a very low floor for this guy. It's going to be pretty chalky, so I think in cash you just take it and try to pay up for all the studs elsewhere. But for tournaments, I think I'm going to try to full fade this guy. He's just not really a guy that has produced much, and we've seen it. It's not like a few instances in last season when he started. It was just the whole season. When he would get the opportunity, he really didn't do a whole lot, except for the last game of the season where he got over 30 minutes and he played better because of like double-digit rebounds. So really, this guy is not really going to be a good tournament play. I think his ownership could be up there if there's really no other value that opens up on this slate. So I really am not a fan of him except for cash games. Now moving on to power forward, I like Lauri Markkanen a whole lot. The Rockets have been giving up a whole lot of points to opposing power forwards. Markkanen looked a lot better last game shooting the ball. His minutes should be there as long as this game stays close and he's out of foul trouble. He's a guy that can get you some rebounds and he can get a few defensive stats as well. And we know he's an excellent shooter. So if he's knocking down threes, everything like that, going to get you double-digit shot attempts in a terrific matchup against Houston. Even though they are tremendous offensively, they're not a good defensive team at all. So Lauri Markkanen should be a key part of this Bulls offense here. I really like him. And again, Otto Porter is out, so that should mean a couple more shots for Lauri. Next is PJ Washington, 6K. Same thing with Dwayne Bacon. I think Washington's definitely a little bit safer because he is a big, he can rebound the ball. He's a pretty good shooter, and he actually showed some upside with his defensive stats. So 6K, I think his floor, it's been 20 this year, but he's got some nice upside just because of the matchup against the Pelicans who just give it up everywhere. As we saw with Siakam, obviously he's a way better player than PJ Washington, but the power forward position is definitely a weak point. It's more just like the pace, everything, just all the positions. When teams play New Orleans, you just try to target them because of how bad they are defensively in the pace. Next is Jaren Jackson Jr., 4.7K. I like this as a tournament play. I think for cash, it's going to be kind of close for me personally, though, because he is so cheap that it's like to a point where Jaren Jackson just is way more talented than this price tag. It's about the foul trouble. We all know that he just can't keep his hands to himself. He fouls out a lot, gets into foul trouble early, and that pretty much is just what limits his playing time. They're on a back-to-back as well, but if Porzingis is out, Jaren Jackson definitely is going to be in a better spot just because he doesn't have to guard him, and also offensively, probably going to be dealing with somebody that's a lot smaller than Porzingis, so he definitely has a whole lot of upside. He's a tremendous defender. He can shoot a little bit, score inside, and get you rebounds. So 4.7K for a starter if he is perfectly fine. Definitely going to be very intriguing. Probably going to be one of the top tournament options of this slate. Next is Maxi Kleber, 4.1K. If Porzingis were to miss, I think he gives you a pretty nice floor. He's more known for his defense, but he's actually been getting some shots, and especially like 3-point attempts. So I like him. If Porzingis were to miss, he probably plays a good amount of minutes, upper 20s, maybe even low 30s, and he'll also get some minutes as a small ball center, so that also bumps up his rebounding a little bit. Now, lastly, onto center. Wendell Carter, Steven Adams going to be my two options that I'm looking at center. For the most part, probably going to be playing like a power forward who's eligible at center, like Lauri Markkanen. But these two guys I like. Wendell Carter, 5.5K. The Bulls are not a good rebounding team, But obviously, there's going to be rebounds. There's going to be a lot of them because the Houston Rockets, they are a good offensive team. They put a whole lot of shots up, especially three-pointers. So there's going to be a lot of misses. Wendell Carter should be able to get really 10 rebounds is not out of the case here. As long as he's out of foul trouble, he was in foul trouble last game. He only played 13 minutes. He's a guy who gets you double-double. He gets you blocks. He's a little bit undersized, but the Rockets, they aren't a good defensive rebounding team or just overall a rebounding team either. So, especially if Clint Capella were to get into foul trouble or something, they go small with Peter Tucker. Wendell Carter is going to have just an absolute field day on the boards here. There's some concern because he doesn't play a whole lot of minutes. He, for some reason, just doesn't play a whole lot, like how we see like upper 30s for a lot of starters. But still, 5.5K, there's definitely a lot of room for upside here. And Steven Adams, 5.4K. His minutes also have been kind of down recently. It's kind of weird. Nerlens Noel has been playing pretty well. Some of this is due to blowouts, like the Golden State game, but his minutes haven't really been there. That definitely concerns me, but the matchup is so good. The Warriors have just given up ceiling games to opposing centers like so often. Aaron Baines, Cody, or I think Cody Zeller as well. A lot of centers just have gone off against the Warriors. So I like Steven Adams here, especially with guys that are like Chris Paul, SGA, who can play make, Dennis Schroeder as well. Pick and roll everything, feed the big man kind of thing. Easy layups, dunks for Steven Adams, and also there's no more Westbrook, so Adams' rebounding should be a lot better this season. So looking back, my top plays, Luka Doncic is going to be my top overall play on the slate. But Lauri Markkanen, if you're talking about like not so obvious play, I really like him. And Chandler Hutchinson is going to be the cash play. So if you are into cash, then it's going to be him. And then I like Tim Hardaway if Porzingis were to miss, as well as Maxi Kleber. For center right now, I'll just plug in Steven Adams. So for cash, I think this is the way to go. If it's more GPP, I'll take Hutchinson out and plug in Jaren Jackson. So those are my 5 favorite plays for cash and for GPPs. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like on the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Or you can also find my Twitter in the description below. You can add me, DM me on there. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And also, if you enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel. I'll definitely try to come out with a lot more videos this year as I've been doing. So thank you guys for watching and good luck on this slate. Bye.